So do you still give Christmas cards? It's BBC Newcastle, it's Radio for the North East, and that's what we are chatting about. We're chatting in the office this morning about the number of cards that we've received, and it does seem to have gone down quite a lot over the last few years. But according to research by Royal Mail, 72% of us still prefer to receive a traditional Christmas card. There's nothing nicer, is there, than opening those cards when they drop through the letterbox. But are you finding that now you are more likely to send a festive text or an email? Do you just not get round to writing those Christmas cards? Sharon Little is CEO of the Greetings Card Association. I spoke to her earlier and asked how many cards she sent this year.
I've sent nearly 500 cards this year.
500 cards?
Yes, well, I mean, I am Chief Executive of the Greeting Card Association, which is a membership organisation, so I do need to send all my members a handwritten card.
How long does that take?
And I really love doing it. It takes a couple of months.
Sharon, and do you do little personal messages in each and every one of them?
I do, and I think that's really important because that's your connection between people. Writing a card is a very personal thing. There's been some scientific research to show that receiving cards is far more emotionally powerful than sending text messages or emails or e-cards because of the handwriting inside.
But I have noticed, personally, that I've received less Christmas cards this year. Maybe that's just, saying something about me, but...
Have you sent fewer of them?
I have. I've sent fewer of them, but there are a lot of people now sending these emails, sending texts. I mean, have you noticed you receive less cards?
I've received even more this year than usual.
You're just a lot more popular than I am.
In order to receive, you have to give. I would encourage everybody to increase their Christmas card lists. You don't have to buy the card, you can make the cards. Handcrafting cards is the #1 craft hobby in the UK. So on top of our statistics, which show that over 1 billion Christmas cards are going to be bought this year, there's also hundreds of thousands of fantastic crafters, and you know who you are. All the people out there handcrafting their cards and sending them out.
I have got a couple of handmade ones, actually, and you're right, they're brilliant when you get that, especially if they've been made by their kids, and they've obviously sat down and they've thought about it. It is lovely to receive one of those.
And Christmas cards raise over £50 million a year for charities, so don't forget charity Christmas cards as well.
I mean, this obviously has never happened to you because you're getting more cards than you're sending now, Sharon, but do you ever get offended if you give a card to them but they don't give one back? Does that never happen in your world? I
think you allow it a couple of years. It could be for some reason. It actually might, generally, if I'm used to receiving a card from someone and I haven't received one, I'll give them a call just to check they're okay.
I thought you were going to say just to, have a go at them.
No, of course I wouldn't do.
Would you say that sending greeting cards is a typically British tradition, or do other countries do it as much as we always have?
No, it is a typically British tradition, and we do send more cards per person than any other nation. Greeting cards are a huge homegrown industry. We have a huge number of greeting card publishers of all varieties, from the big guys to lots and lots of small businesses that are coming into the industry all the time. It's a creative, design-led industry. It's amazing how much variety you can have with such a simple product.
And where did the tradition for sending cards come from, Sharon?
We have seen cards come as far back as the 18th century, but Christmas cards, the commercial Christmas card, was invented in 1843 by a man called Sir Henry Cole, and he was an amazing entrepreneur, and he was also a civil servant. He worked with Rowland Hill on the Penny Post, the Great Exhibition with Prince Albert, and he was the founder of the Victoria and Albert Museum as well. And one year he didn't leave enough time to write Christmas letters to everybody, so he commissioned his friend Sir John Horsley, the artist, to design a Christmas card. And this was printed in black and white because they didn't have colour printing in 1843. But the cards were then hand-coloured. He sent them and he sold the remainder in his shop in Bond Street. Now, it was a little bit controversial. The card is a triptych and the central image is Sir Henry and his family sitting around the dinner table drinking a toast to the recipient. The controversial bit is because there's a little girl drinking wine in the card, and the Temperance Society did not like this at all. They were up in arms outside the shop. They were demonstrating, and there was even a riot over this card.
Really? But I do believe that one of the first cards was recently sold at auction for like £22,500.
That's right. So it's a very precious thing.
What's your take on the newer ways of spreading festive cheer? Because, you know, we might say, yeah, cards are fantastic, you should keep sending them. But in reality, people send texts, they send emails, social media now.
I think that they don't produce the same emotional response. They're not physical. They can't be put on the mantelpiece and glanced up at and for those happy feelings to continue. So I actually think it's a really important tradition to carry on. And Christmas is a time when we reach out to lots of different people, and some people are quite isolated and lonely. Sending them a card is really, really important.
Yeah.
It really perks people up when they receive something by post, something physical, and it's something that people treasure. You know, when you open a card, you see the design, you open it and you go, oh, that's really lovely. Somebody's taken the time. They really care about me, and they've taken time to write this lovely message inside.
My family are very keen on the personalised Christmas card. To my sister and brother-in-law, to my grandparents, to my cousin, I have spent a fortune on Christmas cards this year. I don't resent it, but it is quite expensive. It can be, can't it?
Well, the great thing about cards is that you can spend what you like, really. There are high-end cards. There are cards that are sold singly that we will buy for the special people who are close to us, our close family and friends. And then most cards are sold in boxes, and those are actually very, very reasonable. In fact, there are cards at every price point.
I mean, the greetings card industry, it's worth a lot of money. It's worth £384 million.
That's just Christmas cards. The greeting card industry is actually worth £1.7 billion at retail in this country.
Wow. But hasn't there been a decrease in sales, though, in the last couple of years? Are you worried in any way, Sharon, about the future of greetings cards?
We're not actually worried. There was a very slight decrease in Christmas cards last year of 0.01%, which is nothing.
It's not. Do you know, that's a lot less than I would have expected, to be honest with you.
I know. We still really do love sending Christmas cards and cards of all descriptions. Absolutely.
Well, Sharon, you obviously love cards. What's your favourite type? What type of card do you go for? Do you go humorous, traditional?
I think you fit the card to the person that you're sending it to. So when you're in a shop and you're thinking of that person, that's how you pick your card, because a card is always something that we buy for somebody else. You know, that's the personal nature of it, and I think there's a huge amount of psychology that goes into choosing a card for someone. It's what you think of them, it's what you hope they think of you. And it's what you hope will really communicate caring.
So basically next year what you're saying is send more cards out, Lisa, you'll get more back.
Absolutely.
Sharon Little, Chief Executive Officer of the Greetings Card Association, thank you so much for talking to us, and Merry Christmas.